Facebook warns people of extremists. California bans state travel over LGBTQ laws. And Bill Cosby is released from prison. That and more on this week's headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Is someone you know an extremist? Facebook wants to find out.
Is someone you know turning into an extremist? Well, Facebook now asking that exact question of people who use the platform. Check this out. Some of the social sites users here in the U.S. now being served a prompt that asks if they are worried that someone may be becoming extremist. And others are being notified that they may have been exposed to extremist content, okay? It's a social media version of those health warnings on a pack of cigarettes.
What? Health warnings on cigarette packs are based on scientific evidence they can cause lung cancer. That's not at all the same thing as big tech asking you whether your friends are exposed to undefined extremism. Unless... Wait, have I been exposed to extremist content? What are the signs that someone you know might be at risk of extremism? According to Facebook, it's someone who shows unusual amounts of anger or aggression, discusses or obsesses over violence or conspiracy theories, or spends unhealthy amounts of time online. Facebook just described the entire internet. What's that, Shelley? No, I'm not showing an unusual amount of anger or aggression. This is my normal amount of anger and aggression. Many conservatives are worried this is another attempt by big tech to target them. Did you question the integrity of the 2020 election? Did you attend a Trump rally? You might be an extremist. A Facebook spokesperson told The Verge the test is part of Facebook's larger work to assess ways to provide resources and support to people on Facebook who may have engaged with or were exposed to extremist content, or may know someone who is at risk. And I just want to say, a society where friends and family report on each other to powerful, unaccountable power structures always turns out well. President Joe Biden is on the road, trying to sell voters on the benefits of his $2 trillion infrastructure deal. Vice President Kamala Harris has been on the road promoting this plan as well. But since Biden is now doing it himself, I guess Harris just isn't convincing enough. In her defense, she's been busy dealing with allegations her office is, I'm going to guess that word is skit show. I see why people are upset. The vice president's office is no place for sketch comedy. Speaking of jokes, why is President Biden going on the road like an old-timey traveling salesman pushing his wares? It's the 21st century. Just promote your infrastructure plan with YouTube ads. That's a win-win, since you can get your message across to more people without traveling, and I never have to see those ads since this channel always gets demonetized. Thanks, Patreon subscribers. You the real MVPs. While Republicans think this infrastructure deal goes too far, some on the left feel it doesn't go far enough. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joined protesters outside of the White House demanding Biden prioritize climate change prevention in his infrastructure plan. At one point, protesters formed a blockade in front of the White House, leading to dozens of arrests. The way they're protesting, you'd think Biden is doing nothing about climate change. But his infrastructure plan does include hundreds of billions of dollars to boost the electric vehicle market and shift away from gas-powered cars, as well as update the country's electric grid and make it more resilient to climate disasters, like the heat wave that hit the Northwest this week. But the protesters wanted Biden to spend even more money, which would be terrible for the environment, considering how many trees would need to be cut down to print that many dollars. And for all you sticklers for accuracy who are saying, actually, most money these days is electronic, that's more power being wasted, and with the wave of rolling blackouts, we need to save all the power we can so the joke still works. And B, you don't get invited to a lot of parties, do you? More after the break. Welcome back. On Thursday, President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden visited with first responders and families of victims of the condo building collapse in Surfside, Florida. Hopefully, this visit was able to give comfort and boost morale as rescue missions continue for missing residents. And thankfully, Biden was able to resist the urge to say, "You know, this could have been prevented with my handy-dandy infrastructure deal. Catch me next weekend on my infrastructure tour in Peoria." Not the time, Joe. As for the damage that caused the condo collapse, people had known about the problem since at least 2018. The collapsed buildings, Champlain Towers South, has a sister building, Champlain Towers North. It was erected about a block away a year later by the same company, using the same materials, with a similar design, and has faced the same potential damage from tides and salty air. While some residents have fled the sister building too, most haven't, saying they feel the building has been kept in better condition. Also important to note, this is Florida. If hurricanes blowing alligators and face-eating people on bath salts to their front door didn't scare these people into leaving, they're not going to flee for anything. Actually, considering that condo was filled with people from Florida, I'm surprised that building doesn't want to flee from them. Speaking of Florida, the state of California has banned government travel there. Not because it's Florida, but because of recently enacted LGBTQ laws. California has banned state-funded travel to a total of 17 states now, with Florida, Montana, West Virginia, Arkansas, and North Dakota added to the list this week. Banning state-funded travel basically means California won't send its government officials to those places. In a press release, California State Attorney General Rob Bontas said, "The states are a part of a recent, dangerous wave of discriminatory new bills signed into law in states across the country that directly work to ban transgendered youth from playing sports, block access to life-saving care, or otherwise limit the rights of members of the LGBTQ community." Republicans say the laws are intended to preserve fair competition in girls' sports and prevent young people from getting medical intervention affecting their gender before they're old enough to understand the consequences. I'm not sure how much this travel ban affects California government employees, but I bet the story upsets a lot of California citizens who are hoping the state would pay to send them away, because quality of life there is on the decline, at least in San Francisco. The biggest issues cited in the poll include crime and homelessness. But hey, at least those criminals aren't transphobic. Actually, maybe it would be better if they were, because then California might do more to try and stop them. This person here, they're no criminal, they're an ally. The big story here, though, is why would California be paying to send government officials to North Dakota anyway? This policy seems like an empty political gesture. It's like if I said, "I'm not a fan of the Game of Thrones finale, so America Uncovered isn't going to pay to send our interns to Westeros." But you know what state isn't on California's ban list? That's right, Delaware. Delaware isn't just called the first state because it was the first to ratify the U.S. Constitution. I call it the first state because that's where it ranks in my heart. Liberal California politicians don't want to waste taxpayer money on state travel. Instead, they and many other Democrats want to waste taxpayer money on other things like launching a probe of the January 6th attack on the Capitol. This probe has been delayed more than Chinese democracy. Not the Guns N' Roses album, actual democracy in China. It'll happen any century now. The probe is likely to be delayed again because Democrats and Republicans can't decide how partisan the probe should be. This is like a reboot of the Benghazi hearings. It's a chance for one side to make the other look bad, and ultimately, nothing will come from it besides wasted time and tax dollars. I say if we're going to waste millions of taxpayer dollars, then we should do it on something fun, like adding Guy Fieri to Mount Rushmore. That would get full bipartisan support from fans of Triple D, diners, drive-in, and democracy. And after the break, elections are a mess. Welcome back. Officials in Maricopa County, Arizona said they'll never again use certain voting machines from the 2020 election. Specifically, the voting machines they turned over to contractors hired by Arizona Senate Republicans to audit that election. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors is going to decommission the machines, since the county lost control of them and doesn't know what was done to them during the partisan audit. Democrats don't trust what the auditors may have done to the machines after the election, and Republicans held the audit because they didn't trust what Democrats may have done to the machines before the election. And, as an agent of the machines, I don't trust any of you humans. The problem isn't the machines, it's you ignorant, blood-filled meat balloons. And in other disastrous election news, the Board of Elections in New York City completely screwed up the Democratic primary for mayor. They accidentally included 135,000 test ballot images in the vote totals. This shouldn't be a surprise, though. If the low initial report of how many elderly died in nursing homes as a result of Andrew Cuomo's COVID policy proves anything, it's that New York officials don't know how to count. New York mayoral candidate Eric Adams wants a judge to oversee the vote count. Actually, he should hire a prosecutor and send this issue to the courts, because prosecutors can be trusted to not screw things up. In unrelated news, the prosecutors in the Bill Cosby case completely screwed up. Bill Cosby was released from prison Wednesday after his sexual assault conviction was vacated by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. It was not that they found him innocent of drugging and raping women. In fact, in a 2005 civil case, Bill Cosby gave a deposition where he admitted drugging women during sexual encounters, but said it was by mutual consent. Cosby then settled the civil case by paying his accuser more than $3 million, which is what you do when there was mutual consent. At the time, prosecutors had promised Bill Cosby that what he said during his civil case would not be used to bring criminal charges against him later. But they reneged on that deal. In 2018, they convicted him and sent him to prison for sexual assault. But this week, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned that conviction. Again, not because Bill Cosby was innocent, but because the prosecutor broke their promise. This obviously isn't a win for all the women Cosby allegedly drugged and raped, but it is a win for people wealthy enough to get immunity deals. Glad those underdogs finally got a victory for a change. Speaking of overturning things, the World Health Organization said it no longer recommends widespread COVID-19 testing of asymptomatic cases. The WHO's new guidance states widespread testing of asymptomatic populations, including through self-testing, is not currently recommended, based on lack of evidence on impact and cost-effectiveness of such approaches, and the concern that this approach risks diverting resources from higher priority testing indications. Boy, that sure was a casual way of saying we wasted 15 months and millions of dollars doing something that lacked evidence, wasn't cost-effective, and diverted resources. But at least we're not going to do it anymore, so yay, I guess. Given all their past mistakes, I would have a hard time even trusting the WHO's recommendations for TV shows. I know everyone loves Ted Lasso, but now that the WHO is recommending it, I'm skeptical. On the bright side, this means a lot of taxpayer money just got freed up to make Guy Fieri on Mount Rushmore a reality. We're riding the bus to Flavortown. At least we're not going to keep doing something needlessly. Except in Los Angeles, where public health officials are urging everyone to wear masks again in response to the COVID-19 Delta variant, even if they're vaccinated. The Los Angeles County Department of Public Health said public health strongly recommends people wear masks indoors in settings such as grocery or retail stores, theater and family entertainment centers, and workplaces when you don't know everyone's vaccination status. This is despite CDC Director Rochelle Walensky stating that vaccinated individuals don't need to wear masks because the COVID vaccines protect against the Delta strain. But Los Angeles is still urging its population to mask up out of an abundance of caution. Sorry, did I say an abundance of caution? I meant an abundance of fear. But Los Angeles County stated that despite wearing masks, residents should focus on maximum protection with minimum interruption to routine. You know, that Los Angeles routine of waking up in your 12 by 12 foot studio apartment you pay $2,600 a month for, spending 2 hours in traffic to travel 5 miles to work, and having a homeless person use your car tires as a urinal. I recommend the best way to protect yourself and stay healthy is to leave Los Angeles. I left in 2009. In response to the city's recommendation, pharmaceutical company Moderna echoed the CDC and said its 2 doses mRNA COVID-19 vaccine works against the Delta strain. But despite this, Los Angelinos will likely still wear the mask because if people in LA love anything, it's wearing pointless accessories on their faces. What do you think about the stories we covered this week? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, America Uncovered is supported mainly by viewers. Be sure to visit patreon.com/AmericaUncovered. Contribute $1 or more per episode. We do rely on your support to help us keep making great episodes. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.